Hello, John Davis here again. What I'm going to do for you now is give you a quick look over the DTS unit that's available through SolaSense. Here's one here. I've got it switched on at the moment, as you can see. Screen's a little bit difficult to see with reflections, but what I'll do in a moment is connect this up to the internet and access it from my laptop here where I'm recording this video, and we'll be able to control it and transfer files and view the screen and a few other things. But first of all, just to show you over the unit a bit, it's pretty lightweight. It's 3.5 kilograms. It's battery powered. It's touch screen. And as well as the DTS functionality, it's also an OTDR, so it means you can check over your fibre before you go and run your survey. A few other bits about it. On this end here you'll see this is the action part. These two screws here undo and that whole module slides out, and that is actually the DTS part of it. So both the lasers, it is a dual laser system, two different wavelengths. Both lasers, the reference coil, temperature stabilization for the reference coil, and the rest of all the DTS controls are in that module. So the rest of this is really just a computer. It's a screen, a battery, a motherboard, and the rest of it. It's pretty robust, it's comes out of the telecoms industry essentially, where they've been, this particular company, VIAVI, have been manufacturing units similar to this, not DTS, but OTDRs and other types of network testing equipment. I've been manufacturing those for about 30 plus years now, so a wealth of manufacturing experience of units of this type. And now here's the venture into fibre optic sensing with this unit here. So on the top side of it here, you can see we've got a few USB connections and an Ethernet port I'll be using in just a moment to connect up to the internet. And over here you'll see the connector when you want to charge your battery up. It's good for about 5 hours survey time. Pretty low power consumption, and a neat little pen there if your fingers are a bit thick on the screen with the touchscreen function there. That's about physically all to say about the box. So what I'll do now is I'll connect it up to the internet, and we'll take a look at the screen and connect to a fibre that I have here, 2 kilometers of fibre, and run a survey. Okay, so we're connected up to the internet now with the DTS unit. So what I'll do now is show you the interface program that you can download onto your laptop, PC, or your smartphone indeed. It's available for all those options. So let's take a quick look at that. And here we are. This is what you'll see, this Smart Access Anywhere app. And basically this code here comes from the DTS unit. So on the home screen there that I'll show you in a moment, you'll see this Smart Access Anywhere option, and once you're hooked up to the internet you essentially just click on that on the DTS unit and it'll generate this access code to you, which I've just input here. So I'm going to connect now, which will connect me to the DTS units, and here we go, we're connected. And you can see the first things, there's two options. One to connect to the screen, or to transfer files. And I'll connect to the screen here first. So here we are. This is exactly what's shown on the unit screen at the moment. I'm in the home page, and while I was away for a second there, I just clicked on this Access Anywhere, and it generated this code which you saw me just use in the app I have on my laptop here. So okay on that, and so I'm now controlling this DTS unit over the internet from my laptop. So essentially you could be controlling this anywhere in the world, yeah, essentially. Right, so on the home screen here, on the home page, you'll see you've got this OTDR and DTS option. And the fact that they're yellow means they're both switched on at the moment. If I click on it again, it will go off, and I'll leave it on. So I've got both the OTDR and the DTS functions active at the moment, and of course the Smart Access Anywhere option is activated as well. Now all the features you can physically use on the unit are available here. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the setup screen, and that was one of the buttons on the right hand side of the unit if you were doing it manually, but here I am doing it remotely. So I'll click on the setup screen, and the first thing you'll notice are two tabs at the bottom of the page here. Currently the DTS tab is selected, but the other tab is for the OTDR function. And essentially this is all you have to do to set up for an OTDR run. You can select which of the two lasers you want to use, which wavelengths, one or other or both. And then if you manually want to set up the OTDR survey yourself, or there's an option, I'll just select all. We'll do an OTDR here now actually, because I've got my my cable set up here, and I'll go to manual. I've got 2,000 meters of fiber, so that's all good. So I think let's first go ahead and do an OTDR survey, which essentially is exactly what you should do before going off and doing a DTS survey. So that's me. I just click on top menu there just to clear that up, but you can see I've got both lasers, manual acquisition mode. If you're not quite sure what to do, just take the auto option, and then I've set the range because I know it's about 2,000 meters. You don't need to know the length of the fiber particularly, it'll work it out for itself in auto mode. But that's all you have to do, and then basically hit the stop start, and in doing so it'll take you to the results screen, and you can see here, please wait, it's setting up to do the OTDR survey, first with the 1550 nanometer laser, and you saw a little bar there saying good. That's saying that the connection of the fiber into the unit is good. It's tested that before doing the OTDR survey, and here we are just about to complete the 1550 part of the survey, and you'll see the results come up in just a moment here. And there it is. I just had to double click on the screen there to reset it so it was visible, and now you'll see the second OTDR survey come up. So they're both pretty much overlaying each other. You can see a small loss at the connector here of, well, 0 decibels, so there's no loss basically. It's a good connector, and you can see the loss per kilometer just about, if you squint a little, of 0.236 decibels per kilometer. Okay, so that's your OTDR done basically. So now I'll flip over. Let's go back to setup first of all, because now we'll take a look at the DTS. Now we know we've got a good connection and a good fiber, and here's all the inputs you need to run a DTS survey. You have an option of whether to have a single or continuous surveys. If you select continuous, you'll see it then asks for how much time do you want between scans, and I believe there's a minimum here of some 30 seconds or a minute, I'm not sure which, but we'll stick with a single survey for now. And because I don't want this video to be too long, I'll just keep this acquisition time to 30 seconds. Okay, so 2 kilometers of fiber. You can put in what you like. There's some preset options here, or a manual option to put in some other length. I'll just go back to acquisition time and click on that so you can see what's here. It's the same arrangement, some preset values in minutes and up to hours, or manually you can put in what you want. And the minimum is 15 seconds. And then all that's needed is to input the spatial resolution. If you're not too sure, you can click auto and it'll basically look at the acquisition time you've selected, the length of the fibre, and it'll sort out the appropriate spatial resolution to use. And what that spatial resolution is actually doing is setting the pulse width of the laser. And then you'll see there's a reference mode here. So I talked about the internal reference coil earlier. It's set to use that. But if you were especially observant, you'll have noticed where you connect the fibre into the unit, there are also two other connection points where you can connect a pair or one or two PT100 sensors to have some independent external temperature sources as well. I'll leave that at internal though. Okay, click on top menu to clear all that. So we're all set up. 30 seconds, single survey, 2 kilometers, 5 meter spatial resolution, and again all that's needed is to hit the start stop button. So there we go. It'll take you straight to the output screen. It's saying please wait. It's setting up internally to run the DTS survey. You'll see a couple of little cursors on the screen there that we'll talk about in a moment maybe. But here we go, here's the survey starting to develop. So the readings don't mean a whole bunch at this point, it's just a bunch of statistics going on. So we're just over halfway through the survey on the progress bar here, and as we get to the end of the survey you'll see suddenly it'll jump a little as it shows the end result, and there we go. Okay. So now that was a pretty rapid survey, so it's a little bit ragged. You know, we're varying between 20 and 21 degrees centigrade there. You see this this much higher temperature here, and what that is actually, that's the temperature of the reference coil inside the DTS unit. So you see this goes back beyond 0, so the connector into the DTS unit is at this point here at 0. And then these minus values are the 20 meters of reference coil inside the unit. And we can zoom in on that. You see these functions over here. You can click and do various things. So I'll select this zoom function. So from there to here, say. And then if I want to shift, you can drag the data around as well. There we go. So there we go, you can see the reference coil at 30 centigrade, and as you come to 0 at the beginning of the fibre, you drop down, and the temperature in the room at the moment, I'll double click on here again just to reset it, which it doesn't do for me right now, so there we go. I can see the temperature in my room is about 20 degrees centigrade. Well, all those surveys, the OTDR and the DTS survey, are set, and there's an option either to save them or not, but at the moment they're set to save automatically. So if I click on File, it'll take me to the file directory in the unit here, and you can see I've set up this little miscellaneous folder where I've been collecting the data. Now, as it happens, I can see I didn't have the OTDR function set to save automatically, so they're not there. Both of these files relate to the DTS survey. The first one there is format internal to the unit, but the one that you'll be interested in for export and using is this second one, which is just a plain text file. So that can be output straight into Excel or whatever you like for manipulation. There's a lot more I can show you and tell you. There's a lot of detail, but I really just wanted to show how simple this is to set up, to run. Click back on results, and to get yourself a DTS survey. It's saved into the file. I could either export that as I'm connected via the internet. I could export those files remotely, or at the unit you can save them directly to a memory stick in the USB, or you can transfer them to a memory stick in the USB. So that's it. That's about the size of it. Now, if I didn't say it at the beginning, this is a single mode, single-ended technology. Okay, and as you've seen, it combines a full OTDR and DTS together. It's very robust. On our website shortly, if it's not there already, you'll see a link to a video showing somebody actually driving a car over a unit very similar to this made by VIAVI, and it survives quite well. So I wouldn't recommend you do that, but that's the sort of robustness that comes from 30 years of manufacture of this type of equipment at VIAVI. Touchscreen operation, which I couldn't really show you here today, but as long as your fingers aren't too fat, that works pretty well. It's simple and intuitive to use, and because of the dual laser functionality, you get automatic compensation of differential attenuation along the fibre. So for example, if you've got some fibre damage because of hydrogen darkening, it'll take that out for you. Okay. About a 5-hour battery life, as I mentioned, and as I had it in one hand there, it's 3.5 kilograms. It's the way I access the internet here today is with an Ethernet cable, but it has a built-in Wi-Fi functionality as well. Good. Hope you got something out of that, and if you want to get any more detail on it, then please take a look at the websites. There's some downloads there, or you can drop us a line and we'd be happy to follow up with you. Thank you very much.